Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Danelis, and for today's YouTube video I'm going to be doing a March wrap-up of all the books I read during the month of March. So I did a TBR video last month, and here are the books that I was supposed to read during the month of March. Now let's talk about the books I actually read. So for the first book I read during the month of March, that is Spiral by Bel Kabra, and this is a part of the Offside series, I believe it's called. And the first book is Collide, that follows Summer and Eden, and this is Spiral, that follows Eli and Sage. Eli is in a hockey team with Aiden, and they actually transferred, I think, in the last year, their senior year of college. So they transferred pretty early into a new team, I think in Toronto, Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So he's feeling the pressure. Right now he's not really doing that well on the tabloids, and they're basically like, oh, he's just worried about what girl he's going to be with and not really focus on the game, which is so funny because Eli is such a like wholesome, like gentleman man that like he hasn't even been with somebody for like 4 years, I think it was, but they're like spinning this narrative to like make an excuse of why he's playing so bad. And enters Sage. Sage is a ballerina. She basically meets Eli at a auction because her uncle is like the agent, I think, of the hockey team. I don't think he's the coach, I'm pretty sure he's the agent, and that's the only thing she has close to her, him and her brother. And she basically grew up in a rough home and she doesn't talk to her parents, and so she goes to this auction, and Aiden from the first book is like, listen, I need you to win this auction to get Eli on a date. The other girl that's so obsessed with him, and so he's like, okay, like I'll pay you like if you do this. And so she's like, okay, I'm running low on money, why not? And so they go on a date, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, because I feel like this book unpacks so much of both of their traumas, and I feel like they both really heal each other, and I loved this book. I rated it a 4.75, you guys, almost a 5-star read. But I honestly don't remember why I didn't rate it a 5-star. I think it just didn't give me the full-on vibes, and I think it took me a while to read it. Like, I got into the book, but some parts I was just like, like I don't really feel like reading this. But overall, super good. Highly recommend for a hockey romance. The first one is not as good, I would say, in my opinion. I prefer these two characters because I really connected with Sage, the girl character in this. I feel like Eli, if you ever read the Off-Campus series, John Tucker is Eli. And Russ from Wildfire, I don't remember what the series is called, but it's the Icebreaker Wildfire and Daydream. Yes, Daydream. So Russ and John Tucker give the vibe of Eli Westbrook, y'all. The second book I read was Swift and Saddle by Lila Sage, which is a part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. And the first one is Done and Dusted, and that follows Emmy and Luke. And this one follows Wes and Ada. Wes is the middle child. Yep, middle child. And he's renovating a home in Rebel Blue because he's like, I need something for me, because Gus is like about to own the ranch after their father. Emmy is like the horseback rider teacher, and she takes care of all the horses. And so he's like, I'm gonna renovate our childhood home that nobody lives in. And he hires an interior designer. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Teddy introduces them, which she's also from the first book, and she has her own book. So excited for her book. And basically she hires this interior designer, Ada, and the day before she's supposed to come into town, he goes to the bar, she's at the bar, but they don't know each other, and they have this moment together. She leaves her purse at the bar, and so she's like going into work late, she's stressing out, and like Wes knows at this point, like when they meet each other at the house, that that's Ada, and he's like, oh. So it's so funny how like when she goes into the house like so stressed without her purse, and like their interaction is so funny, hilarious. Throughout the book I really enjoyed it. I will say I think I enjoyed it just a little bit more than the first book, but I think it's because I feel like this one wasn't as fast paced as the first book. It was more slow burn, and I feel like you could really tell the struggles that both of them were going through, and it really impacted like how they were going to move on forward for their relationship. I don't remember what I rated this book, so I'm gonna go over Goodreads. You guys, I read these books and then I just don't remember. I just don't remember what I read them. I rated this book a 4.25, so not bad, not bad, honestly. I haven't thought of this book since, so I might lower the rating to just a 4, but other than that, really good. I really love Lila Sage's writing. Super excited to continue the rest of the series. The next book I read was a highly anticipated read of mine for this month, and it was on my TBR, and that is Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. It's a little beat up because I used this to travel, but or I took it with me to travel. It follows Chloe and Warren. Chloe basically lives by herself. She really independent because she grew up with two parents that just didn't really care, went through a lot of trouble and struggles, and so she ended up having to be giving up for adoption when I think she was 5 years old. And so her parents, she doesn't really have like really good relationship with her parents and her adoptive parents. And then she gets a call that her birth mother actually gave birth to another baby, her little sister, and basically she doesn't have the finances to take care of her, and enters where Warren is also trying to adopt his little brother who is deaf, and he can't find a 2-bedroom apartment. So basically they do this thing in the program where they have to live together and help each other out financially and a shelter in a sense. And so they really help each other throughout this, but Warren is very like so like rude to her in the beginning. He thinks that she thinks that she's all that, and that like she's just like grew up in like a rich neighborhood and has so much money, and without like even knowing her story, which I really did not like that part. I read a review on Goodreads. Like, I don't like reading reviews before reading the book because it messes with my reading process, if that makes sense. So one of them said that they fall in love really fast. Like, it felt too instant love. If I wouldn't have read that, I probably wouldn't have thought it. I don't think it was like instant love. I really don't think so. I think it was pretty slow burn because there were so many chapters where they really had a rough relationship and they weren't like really friends, and then it was like random to where they were like, oh, all of a sudden we like each other. But honestly, I just think they just got to know each other within those months of time, and I really loved how he didn't like pressure her into getting in a relationship. She didn't really pressure him, but it was like knowing that they wanted to be together. I really did love this book. Again, don't remember the rating. I gave it just a 4-star. I really love both of them. I really did. Like, I feel like the older sister in me was like loving this book, and I feel like for all my older siblings, like this book is just so like heartwarming. Or even if you just have a sibling in general, like even if you're not the older sibling, like it's so heartwarming because you really truly do anything for your siblings, and like that kind of bond is just like no other. So this book holds a special place in my heart. I really love Hannah Bonham Young's writing. She's become one of my favorite authors, and I've only read Out on a Limb and Next of Kin. But I'm super excited to read her other books. I know Off to the Woods just came out, so I'm super excited to read that. Maybe it will be in my April TBR. The next book was also on my TBR, and I got the chance to read it, and that is A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. This is a part of the this is a part of the Gold Rush Ranch series. This follows Cole and Violet. Cole is the older brother of Vaughn from the first book, and Violet is the horseback rider from the first book, and she's Billy's like best friend. And Cole and Violet basically met online a couple years ago. Did not know each other's identity, but like, okay, Cole knew of Violet, but Violet didn't know of Cole, and they had like certain names on there. They had certain usernames. He's like acting like if they never had like a certain relationship to begin with, because she did ghost him. So like reasonable, you guys. But basically she gets hurt and he is visiting the ranch and he's staying there for like a couple months, I think. And she needs a place to stay because where she lives has only stairs in her apartment, and so she needs somewhere that doesn't have stairs. So she basically stays with him, and you guys, the way he takes care of her in such a like cute way, but in like a never mention it, you know. And I read this in 2 days. You guys, listen, I don't know if it's because I read it on my Kindle. I literally read this on vacation. Did not think I was going to read any books on vacation and like actually finish them, because I bring a lot of books on my vacation and never actually read them. But this one, I don't know. And honestly, like in the beginning, I was like really into it. And then in the middle, I just, not bored, but like a lot of their interactions were like a minute long, it felt like they were so short. So when they like actually started talking more and like opening up to each other is when I really started liking it. And like putting them two together, so cute. Like I love Grumpy Sunshine tropes. Like I gave it a 4, just a very simple rating. I feel like it wasn't the best Elsie Silver book I read, but it was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. I would say it's like maybe like towards the bottom. I was really excited to reread this book, but I feel like Billy and Vaughn had me more intrigued, where I was like, oh, I want to keep reading, I want to keep reading. And even though I read this in 2 days, it kind of felt like I was just trying to just get through it and just try to finish it so I could start a new book, if that makes sense. Still very much love Elsie Silver's writing. I just think I prefer Chestnut Spring series a little bit more and the Rose Hill series a little bit more, but that's just because it's her new writing, you know? So yeah. Now, the last book I read in March was When in Rome by Sarah Adams. And Sarah Adams is actually a new author that I started to read. And let me just tell you, love her writing. Love her writing. This follows Amelia and Noah. Amelia is a pop star. And guess what, you guys? She goes to a small town. I don't know what it is about small towns, but I read 3 books this month that involved small town and somebody leaving. So yeah. Noah is a pie shop owner. If that's not wholesome, like I don't know. Noah was just so cute and like wholesome, and like he was definitely not golden retriever in the beginning. He was very like, what are you doing on my lawn? Okay, let me explain like what happened. So basically, Amelia, aka Ray Rose, goes to a small town, right? And she's like, I want to go to Rome. But she's like, that's kind of too far, you know? So she goes to Rome. I'm pretty sure she started in Tennessee. I think she grew up in Tennessee, lives in Tennessee. And so she's like, I'm gonna go to the next thing on my GPS, that's Rome. So she goes to Rome, Kentucky. Her car breaks down. Where does it break down? In front of Noah's house. And their interaction in the beginning is so funny because it's literally me. I feel like I would react the same way she did, because she's in a broken down car in front of a stranger's house in a state that she doesn't know. And now this guy's walking up to her car asking for help, or asking if she wants help. So I get it, was so funny. I will say Sarah Adams writing in this, I haven't read the other books, but it's very like rom-com. The relationship was just so cute because like he helps her like do these goals and like see new things around the city after like he warms up to her. And one of the things was like just the simplest things was just like to play Scrabble. And I was like, she was like, because I've never had anybody to play Scrabble with me. I rated this book a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. And even though it was like cheesy and like unrealistic at times, loved every minute of it. You guys, every minute of it. Reading this on like a plane at the airport. Like, I don't know, the vibes were there. The vibes were there, and I was like, should I get on the flight to just go to Rome, Kentucky? You know, find the love of my life. You never know. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope to read the rest of the books I added onto my March TBR and probably just move it on over to my April TBR, because I really do want to read Funny Story by Emily Henry, Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy. What other books I put? I put The Long Game by Elena Artemis, and I'm currently reading that right now. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.